Hello friends, welcome to our living room. In an effort to downsize, to move in with mom, I need to be going through these cabinets, and the majority of these cabinets are actually decorations. And we've already talked about getting some uniform boxes to put decorations in for each season that can be stored easily once we know the storage shelves we'll be using. But in here are also a couple of boxes of personal pictures I need to go through. So here we are. These are the three, I have three boxes. They're basically shoe boxes. This one's actually a proper picture box, but you know. I'm not sure in going through these with you how much I'm going to be able to get rid of or what's going to happen, but I need to start somewhere. And I need to decide what I'm going to do with these because I don't want to just keep carrying them around with me. Previously, I did, for my family photos, I've scanned them all in and they're all available in Dropbox for any of my family members to look at or copy or do what they want with them, which works because my family is far spread all over the United States. But these I did not do because they're just personal to me. So I think looking at this is actually pictures from my trip to Japan. So, and they're very, very organized. So I'm going to skip this for the moment because what I like to do is just go through and get rid of duplicates and see how much that actually brings down the inventory. Let's see. And I think ultimately I would want to scan these into the computer like I did the other ones. And maybe if I wanted to, I could do like a collage or something. I'm not sure. But already I'm seeing that, you know, when you used to develop film, you always said, I want duplicates because I want to give them away to some other people. Yeah. So now you have tons of duplicates. These are actually just film strips. So already I've gotten rid of some. So that gives me hope. Let's see. I don't even remember that. So maybe I might eventually completely get rid of that one. It says it was a speech class I had in college, but I don't remember it. So I didn't scan these ones because I thought it was just personal, but these are actually family Christmas photos that the rest of the family might be interested in. So I will definitely go back to scanning some of these. So comment below, how do you store your photos? How do you organize them? How do you plan on sharing them with other people? Any sort of tricks or tips will be helpful for the community, I'm sure. I know photos have become less precious, if that makes sense, to me over the years because we have the camera on our phone and we can take tons of them. And I found when I was working through my family photos, I really didn't care about the pictures of a random tree. You know, the things that were precious were the picture of the people. And those became something that you wanted to look at. And of course, if the people were in front of the tree and they had a story about the tree, yeah, that tree made sense. But, so it brings different perspective. I remember, you know, pictures are precious and the whole push to do scrapbooking to preserve them. It's like, okay. Oh, the days of blurry foreheads and a very dark thing that you were trying to focus on. That is one thing I don't miss about cameras and developing film. and foggy pictures of big groups. Yeah. So on this first pass, I really am just going to get rid of duplicates. And then I'll go through and look at it for context and say, okay, does this mean anything to me anymore? Is it worth saving? Is it worth putting in the effort of actually scanning it in? Because it does take time. So. It's funny about the comment about trees, because I just went through a trip to the sequoias, which is a picture of a lot of trees. And here I have a picture of a lot of rocks. It's for a geology class I took. I think. Oh no, it's a camping trip. Wow. How long has it been since you saw those? I don't have a way to even access that, so it can go in the trash pile. A lot of these have to do with families, so they end up scanning a lot of them into the family photos. That was one advantage of living in California, is a lot. Basically, if you drove an hour in any direction from where I lived, you were in a different environment. So I have pictures of camping trips to the beach. I have pictures of camping trips to the mountains or to the desert if you really wanted to, which you didn't want to because you lived in the desert already. It was enjoyable to have access to so many different environments. You know, big cities, little cities. Whereas now you drive really, really far in all directions and you don't really get out of the same area. You have to fly to get to different environments unless you want to drive all day. That being said, California is huge. And you can live in California and still not see everything just because, unless you intentionally went traveling a lot. It's massive. People don't really think about it. That was the culture shock I had going back when I visited occasionally for the East Coast, is within hours you can be in different states. Whereas in California you can drive all day and not get into a different state. Especially if you're going north or south. I want to lick my fingers, but that's not good for pictures. Now these don't necessarily have a lot to do with duplicates for family stuff, but if I scan this, maybe my sister could share it with people from our home church, and that makes a difference. This is an example of a project that I was meaning to do before we even decided we're going to be moving. It's just, I didn't have motivation to get it done because 3 boxes in a cupboard somewhere, it wasn't a big deal. But when you start thinking about moving them and safely storing them, then there's motivation to get it done. Another floppy disk. I can see a lot of these going away because they are pictures of just buildings. They meant something to me at the time. They don't mean that much to me now. I know what they are. They're pictures of the junior college I went to. Maybe I'll be able to consolidate and get rid of one of the boxes. Wow. Look at that kind of computer. It's one of the original Apples. Wow. This next one's huge. Yes. A lot of these will be going away. It's just pictures of buildings. Okay. 8 pictures of a chandelier. This might actually be triplicates. Some of these are looking familiar. Discard pile's getting large. Add hope of combining things. And it's also giving me a very distinct purpose of, a lot of these are from family photos, so they really can be scanned in. And if they're already scanned in, I don't need to hold on to them. But I don't know that I went through all of these to scan them in, because I thought they were just personal photos of mine. Oh, it's my kitten. She's so cute. I love my kitten. Her name is Suki. I had her from when she was 6, 8 weeks old from PetSmart adoptions till she passed away. I want to say, I don't know, 16 years maybe? I don't remember. Okay, so that is that. Yeah, this isn't pictures. It's New Year, or summer decor. It's actually labeled summer decor, and actually is summer decor. So I think I'm going to put the decor back in there in a way that I can actually see the label, and toss all these pictures, and then I can come back for round 2. Okay, so round 2, I'm going to be going through actually looking at the pictures, not just looking for duplicates, and looking at the context. Does it mean anything to me? Is it worth the time and effort of scanning it? So here we go. I honestly, I see myself, but I don't recognize anybody in this picture, so I'm going to let these go. I don't really have an interest in scanning these, but I think I will mail them to my sister. There's pictures of her house after she moved in, or shortly after, so I'll mail those to her. She has an interest in them, but I don't have any desire to scan them in. I know I took a lot of pictures on this one because I was sponsored to go on a trip, and I was trying to document it well to share it with people who had sent me. But I don't need pictures of random buildings and random cities forever and ever. Wow, going through it for less than half a box. So these are trash, those to go to my sister, and now I am going to look at the Japan box. I have to switch my mentality and say, I'm not making a scrapbook. I don't have to record every single thing. What is actually meaningful to me today? I haven't looked at these in a long time. Is that weird that I find it comforting that there's actually duplicates in here, so I don't have to make hard decisions? I would like to visit Japan when not in the height of summer, where it's crazy, crazy humid. That would be enjoyable. This is reminding me of how foreign it was there. It definitely felt like you were in a different country. Beautiful, but miss being able to read English on the signs. Use a lot of body language to communicate. And you realize how young America is when you're there. So I've defaulted to just taking out duplicates. If there's something really, really obvious and like I'm not gonna want that, then I will take it out. This one I can't even tell what the picture is of. Part of my plan is I have a journal that goes along with these pictures, and maybe reading it might help me decide. I don't know. But if I can get rid of half of them just by getting rid of duplicates, it'll be an improvement. a lot of pictures of houses and everything, just because it was such a different environment. My church had a sister church in Japan, and every summer we'd have high schoolers come to our house from there, or to our church from there, and do American homeschool stays, and they'd stay with families in the church and then go on, you know, adventures like to Magic Mountain or Hollywood and that sort of thing. But they had never had a reverse homestay where an American went back and stayed with them. So to graduate high school, I needed to go on a missions trip. So my church decided to send me to our missionaries in Japan, and I stayed with them for, I want to say, about 5 weeks. And on each week, I stayed with a different family. So they got to experience hosting somebody from another country, which was very unheard of. You didn't have people staying in your homes. Even family didn't really stay over at other people's homes. You know, the idea of a sleepover was not common. So that's what this trip is. I stayed there and helped our missionaries teach English classes, because that was their outreach. And it was very enjoyable and definitely a learning experience for me to realize that just because something is different does not mean it's wrong. But I have many fond memories, and I enjoyed experiencing a different culture. But like I said, I've always wanted to make a scrapbook out of this. I did do a slideshow presentation to my church when I got back, giving them a taste of being in Japan. But I don't see myself doing a physical scrapbook, and now this is so long ago, it's hard to remember things. I'm glad I kept the journal, but I don't want to be stuck in the past. I want to, you know, enjoy it and have it as a resource, but don't have it just holding me down and dragging me down, and having to manage all the supplies and the pictures and all this sort of stuff throughout your life. Sometimes not worth it. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not. It's like I inherited all sorts of pictures and books and such from my mom. And yes, some of it meant something to me, but a lot of it had no context, because she wasn't there to say, this is what this is, and this is why it was important enough to keep. So I think it's important to go through things and encourage myself to live in the present. But so this reduced massively. This was the entire box, and now we're down to here. So I can now combine the two boxes and put them together. These, I believe, are the slideshow. Yes, these are the slides. I do not need to keep these, because they were just made into slides from the pictures I already have. So I'm going to assume that this was before this. These were like saying 2000, and this was in the 90s. So I've gotten rid of a box, and actually this stuff can go in here to be thrown away. So this is my personal photographs. This is a journal, but it might be, it's telling me all the names of all the people in these big group photos. And to me, that's important. So I'm gonna keep this still. But it needs to bend. So the next step, I believe, is going to be, one, going through the family photos of my family that are in here and seeing if they're already scanned into the computer. If they are, I don't need to keep them. Then, I suppose, looking through my journal from Japan and comparing it and seeing if it explains some of the random pictures I have. And ultimately, I think all of this is going to be scanned into the computer so I can get rid of the actual photos. But that is for another day. So thank you for joining me today as we took a walk down memory lane and consolidated pictures. It, in some way, feels like I didn't make much progress. I only got rid of one box. But in other ways, it really does feel like progress because I'm now more acquainted with the pictures I do have to work with and have some next steps to go forward. You know, yes, this isn't a big deal to try to store this box, but it's basically an unfinished project, and it'd be nice to not move with unfinished projects. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful day and that you this helps you consider the memories and memory photos you might have in your life and what you may be able to do with them. Until next time, feel free to like and subscribe.